Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jump and today I'll be doing my top 5 favourite video game adaptations. Now, when it comes to adaptations of video games, a lot of them aren't very good. I think we can all agree. If you look back during the late 80s, early 90s, a lot of them were bad, and then over the next few years, we've been getting there haven't been as many good video games. I think during the last, I think during back 20 or so years ago, but over the last few years or so, we have been getting quite good adaptations of video games, like in terms of when they've been adapted into films or TV shows or something like that. So in this video I'll be going over some of my favourite sort of game adaptations. So to start off with, for number 5 is the FNAF film. Now, this movie I think does a good job of adapting the first the first FNAF game, because it's Five Nights at Freddy's, and it just feels like how to adapt it, because it's not a very long game. It's like 5 nights plus some extra stuff if you do like something in the games, and this as a whole, this film kind of feels like an indie movie of sorts. It's not really. It doesn't have a. It's not. It doesn't really have a high budget, I think. You can kind of tell that by the sets, the locations, that sort of thing. But I do think it's a good film. I think it's a good few hours of your life. It's one of those films that you just pop on and just watch, and then when it's finished, like, yeah, I had fun. It's just one of those films. It's just to have fun. It's not really meant to, like. I think it's not meant to be taken seriously as like a lot of other stuff when it comes to game adaptations. So yeah, I think it's enjoyable. I think it's got that sort of indie feel. It kind of reminds me of how the first Deadpool movie felt, where it has that sort of indie feel as well. So yeah, I think it's a somewhat enjoyable movie. For number 4 is Pokemon Concierge. Now, this one I think it's one of those really adorable looking shows that's based on the Pokemon series, because this show is so cool, and it's like it doesn't feel like Pokemon, but it does in sort of sense, because like it's just the whole premise of the show is just someone looking after Pokemon at a resort area, and yeah, I think that's a really cool concept, and you don't really normally see that in the other Pokemon animes, because in the main line Pokemon animes as well as the games, it's mainly just battling and becoming the champion and stuff like that. But with Pokemon Concierge, it's just more relaxing, more just down to earth, and I think that's a really cool thing. And I do really like all the characters. I like all the Pokemon that we get to see, and it just feels relaxing. And I do like the fact that it's done through stop motion, which is something that's I think kind of hard to pull off, because stop motion does take a long time to do, and yeah, I think a good example is probably the Wallace and Gromit stuff. So yeah, I would really highly recommend you guys going to see or go watch Pokemon Concierge. It's on Netflix. Like, all 4 episodes are on Netflix. So yeah. For number 3 is the Castlevania anime. Now, what I like about this is that it takes the sort of like the ideas or the plot of Castlevania, of you playing as a Belmont to fight Dracula, and just makes it like a 4 season story, or 3 or 4. I think it's about 3 or 4 seasons. But yeah, I think I do like the idea, and I do like how it's just I like the animation. I think the animation is is pretty well solid. I think it's kind of it's one of those animes that does have a good animation. I think with the fight scenes and stuff, especially when it comes to like against Dracula and stuff like that. And yeah, I do enjoy all the characters that you get to see throughout the show, because they've all got their different motivations, their own loyalties, that sort of thing. And yeah, and with Dracula, I do like how he starts off like with as if he kind of wants to be more like a human, but then when his wife passes away, he returns to being an emotionless monster. And yeah, I think that's an interesting take on Dracula, and I think all the other characters are really cool. So yeah. For number two, it's the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Now, with this one, I think the anime. This is a more. I think with this movie, it's like, I think that it's a much more better version of a Mario movie than the one that we got with that was released back in the 80s or 90s. Because with this one, you've got all the characters. You got Peach, Mario, Luigi, Bowser, and a lot of other characters you will probably see in the Mario game. And what I like about this is that it doesn't really. It's not. It's not really It's not really adapting from a particular game. It's like it's got its own plot, but it's got like elements from other games. So like Bowser marrying Peach, that's kind of a thing you kind of see in Mario Odyssey. You've got some of the level concepts, like during that whole training montage. You've got a Luma. There's a Luma in the game, which is from Mario Galaxy, and yeah, I think with this film, it just takes the idea of the Mario games and kind of blends everything together into one. The only thing that I do have against the movie, one of the few things is that this film does feel a bit rushed. I did talk about this in my Mario movie review that I did a while back. It does feel a bit rushed in some places. Maybe if they do happen to do a sequel, which they hopefully will do, because I think the movie was a big success. Maybe it can sort of slow down a bit in more places, because there does feel like some scenes that felt like they were going to go for more slow pace in some scenes, but they felt like those particular scenes were cut for time. So, yeah, but overall, it's a really enjoyable movie, and I do enjoy all the references that it has to other Mario games. And for number one is the Persona 4 anime. Now, what I like about the Persona 4 anime is that it's a really good adaptation of the Persona 4 game as a whole, and I think it handles a lot of things well, like the social links, the battle style, the story as a whole, and I do like how you get like a lot of some episodes are just like, okay, we've got to do this, this, and this. Like, okay, here's another person. They've gone into the TV world. Let's save them. But then there's more slow episodes. For example, this summer two-parter that's like much more slow paced and just down to earth sort of thing. And I do like how it's all two-parter. Yeah, I do like the character interactions. I do like how the fact that you has a can speak in this anime, cause like in the show, no, not on the show, in the games is just more the player input, and I do like how he has some sort of a character. Well, he has basically a sort of character arc in this show where he can't be without his friends, and when he's fighting Margaret, you kind of see his shadow self, which is basically him on a bunch of TVs. And I do like that, and I think the animation does a really good job of everything, and I think it's really cool. So that's been my list for my top 5 favourite video game adaptations. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.